Hey guys, welcome back, Project. I'm your host, Alexandra, and today we're going to be talking about 4 ways. Okay, you're going to walk away after watching this video, listening to this podcast. You're going to know 4 ways that women will be flirting with you. Okay, things that women do to let you know they're interested and that they will do in the hopes that you will approach them. And all 4 of the things I'm going to share with you are things that I have done, my girlfriends have done, and many other women will be doing. Some of them won't even recognize what they're doing. In fact, it only took me many years of reflecting on my own behavior to pick up and pick out these things that women do to men, because no woman is given a rule book. These are things that just naturally end up happening. So we are going to clear something up, and that's that women are often way more obvious about flirting than you might think. And the problem is that a lot of men are going to be missing this, not because you guys are clueless, but because you might be looking for some of the wrong signs from women. So again, I'm going to share 4 crystal clear signs that a woman is in fact inviting you or flirting with you. And like I said, I've personally done every single one of these things. Now, before we dive into this, if you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. We talk all things life and dating and relationships and navigating modern dating, especially if you're dating again after a divorce, a separation, or for the first time after a long-term relationship. You can feel like you're walking into complete unknown territory. The dating scene has definitely changed, and women have definitely changed. And if you're dating also, let's say in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, and the last time you really got into a serious relationship was in your 20s and 30s, then naturally you're starting to recognize that women are different. The way they operate is a little different. And so you might be going, well, the strategies and the things I was doing in my 20s and 30s just aren't really working for me now. And so if you need a little guidance or you need a little support, you're welcome to book a complimentary call with me. We'll see if coaching is the right modality for you. If not, that's okay. There's lots of resources and directions I can point you in. But if it is the right fit, then you'll be like many of my clients who have, found great loving relationships, post-divorce, post-separation, post-long-term relationship. So let's dive into the first thing that women are going to do, which you might now hear this and go, oh, that's actually really obvious. Now, the first thing women are going to do is physically move into your line of sight. Now, this is something I did a lot in my 20s. In my 20s, I was living in Sydney, Australia. I was working in finance, and my girlfriends and I would often go out after work, Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. Not always 3 days in a row, but sometimes 3 days in a row. And we would often go out to a couple of the funky bars in Double Bay. They are very busy bars. And honestly, people in Australia are typically very gorgeous. There's lots of music, there's really great vibes, cocktails in these places. And so we would go as a group of girls. We'd all get dressed up. We would, take an Uber there or take a taxi there. And if I saw what I thought was a handsome or attractive man, I wouldn't just kind of wait around for him to notice me. I would engineer the moment, okay? Now, I didn't really realize I was doing this until recently when I started to reflect on my own behavior. But what I would do is I would kind of casually move closer to where he was. Let's say he was at the bar ordering a drink. I would naturally start moving in that direction next to where he might be ordering, or I would walk past him on the way to the bathroom twice, right? So I would be positioning myself so that I was viewable, that I ended up in his view. Now, my goal was not to pounce on him, of course, and my goal was not to be approaching him, but I was trying to make it easier for him to notice me. Yeah, there's a little insecurity here in this too. And naturally, women who are single that are looking around for a potential partner might have a glimmer of insecurity. And I know I certainly did in my 20s, but I was trying to make it easier for this handsome man that I perceived as handsome to see me. And so that if he liked what he saw, then, here I was. Welcome to approaching me, right? And so guys, this is actually more common than you realize. So you might not recognize this all the time, but if a woman is, suddenly in your space a few times in a short period, and you're in an environment where this would more naturally happen, right? A bar or any type of place or venue where the intention is to go out, have fun, and to meet people, right? Then this woman may not be there by accident, right? So the ways that you guys can think about how to spot this is if a woman changes her standing position or seat position to move closer to you, or you notice that she's walked past you more than once without a reason, or she ends up in your direct line of sight in a very crowded space, right? You're here maybe talking to your guy friends, but like instead of her being over here, she's just behind the men or the guys that you're talking to or whomever you're talking to, then this woman might just be trying to put herself in your view. Yet that's a woman's indirect, slightly more subtle way of saying, I see you, do you see me? Now, tip number 2 is that when a woman sees a guy that she is interested in or a little glimmer of interest or attraction, she's thinking, hey, I hope this guy talks to me. She will start fidgeting or she'll start playing with her appearance around you. And what women will do is kind of called priming. Sometimes it's subconsciously, but it is when they are interested. So when I was out, I had a friend kind of nudge me because a guy that I was interested in or thought was, good looking had walked in. And instantly I, started kind of touching my hair. I started kind of adjusting my dress and I even did a quick little mirror/glance in my phone just to make sure, I didn't have hair across my face or something in my teeth, right? And so these little kind of grooming movements are a way of a woman saying, I want to look my best for you without actually saying it out loud. And especially if we're out in environments where, we spent a lot of time getting ready and, we might be eating or drinking, we're naturally just going to make sure we're still looking good or apply our lip gloss so that, our hair doesn't get stuck in it or whatever. We're just going to prime so that if you do come and approach us, we are looking our absolute best for you. So if you notice that a woman is kind of suddenly fixing her hair, or she's reapplying her gloss or lip liner, or she's straightening her outfit after spotting you, that can be a subtle sign that a woman is trying to stay fresh looking and looking her best for you. Now, you can spot it if she flips her hair or she smooths her hair. You can spot it if she's applying, a lipstick touch-up when you're in view or kind of fixing her face in that way, or she's adjusting her clothing or posture. Maybe like holding her stomach in and standing up a little straighter so that she just looks more flattering. Women do this. We want to look good for men that we are interested in. So you'll notice that women will be fixing or priming themselves. Okay, now the third thing that women are going to do is we'll kind of look for excuses to engage with you. Now, some women are bold enough to be the one that directly approaches men, but oftentimes women are a little more subtle and a little more indirect. So we'll kind of look for a reason or an excuse to engage with you. And I remember I was at a friend's barbecue once and I saw a guy across basically the grass, the patio, or whatever it was. I can't remember. And I wanted to talk to him, but instead of kind of waiting for him, I did walk over and ask hey, do you know who's got the current playlist for the music going on right now? That was kind of dumb, but it was a very random question. And of course, I didn't really care about the music. What I cared about was starting a conversation. So women will do this to you, and they might ask you where the bathroom is, or they might make a comment about your shirt, or they'll ask you a question that they already know the answer to, because it's not really about the question or the playlist or where the bathroom is. It's about finding an excuse to be known, to be in front of you, and to engage with you. It's ultimately we're saying, hey, I'm going to do a lot of the legwork for you. I'm going to open the door for you. And this was more common, by the way, me noticing as a woman, I would do these things, particularly in Australian culture, where what I recognized coming from Canada and then going to the United States to Australia was men and women really were like separated in social events. Men would hang with each other and women would hang with each other. And there was a lot of tension and awkwardness about mixed gender socializing, I noticed. So it was less like that in Canada. And so I recognized this divide more when I was in Australia. And I think that's where I started to recognize, hey, I'm finding these excuses to engage with these men because they ain't coming around and doing the engaging, and I'd like to get to know them or talk to them or develop friendships or see if something could happen. So, I would find these excuses, or other women in my friend group would find these excuses to engage with men. So the way you can spot this is women end up asking you kind of random questions out of the blue that are not urgent, right? You might be really pondering, oh, that was weird. Well, that's because it might be just a reason or an excuse for her to talk to you. Or she's commenting on something that you're doing or wearing, or she might actually make like a playful, flirty comment from across the room about oh, don't pour your beer like that. Or, oh, that cake is empty. or whatever it might be that she says. It's her way of engaging with you, even if you're kind of going like, don't tell me what to do, or who cares if I'm doing it wrong, or that's embarrassing that she pointed that out. That's a woman's way of opening the door. It's an invitation to actually talk with each other. You're also going to notice that women, especially in crowded environments, are going to bump into you. Women bump into men that they're trying to get the attention of. You've seen this in Hollywood, where they take it, obviously, to another extreme, where a woman like fakes falling down in front of a man so that he's like, oh my God, I must pick you up. And now we have this fairy tale beginning of our relationship. Well, women typically aren't going to go that far, but they will bump into you. And they will do those types of things to get your attention if you are, in fact, that guy who happens to be very obtuse or very fixated on your friend group and not noticing her. So women will do this. Now, these things happen more or less depending on the environment. Obviously, if you're in a very professional setting or you're in a course structure, women can't necessarily do these things as obviously. But even if you notice in a seating arrangement, or if you're sat down, let's say you've gone to like a speaking event and you're in like the 8th row, right? A woman who sees you and is attracted to you won't sit behind you. So she'll go and sit in front of you so that you will notice and see her. So even in environments that are a little more professional or stuffy or strict, these things will happen. They just might not be as noticeable or obvious as a crowded bar where there's noise, there's music, and a woman is going to bump into you on the way to the bathroom. You're in a crowded environment, these types of things. So these things will happen, but I guess the level of intensity of them might be different depending on the environment you are in. Even in a cafe setting, right? If a woman is very attracted to a man that she sees in there and she is planning to sit down and read a book or work on her laptop in the cafe, she will sit somewhere where she knows you could possibly look up and see her too. So it happens in all environments. It just might feel more obvious and louder in crowded environments. Now, the last thing that women are going to do is, if you end up talking to this woman, so you pick up these signs, you actually start a conversation with a woman because she bumped into you or made fun of how you were doing something. Then a woman will put some effort into extending the interaction. Because the alternative is, if a woman is not interested in a man, she'll find a reason to leave the interaction early. But if she is interested, she's going to look for reasons to extend the interaction. So I remember years ago, I was chatting with a guy after a big group dinner, and everybody was getting up to leave. But I wasn't ready for my conversation with this man to end. So instead of getting up and walking out with everybody, I did linger a little bit and I asked him some more questions. I made a joke. I got him talking again. Because the point I'm making here is, if a woman is quite interested in you, she won't rush off. She's going to try and find reasons or conversational reasons to keep the momentum or moment alive, or to be able to have some dialogue with you one-on-one outside of a group setting, even if it's just for another moment or two. And I think the reason why we do this is our way of trying to demonstrate our interest, and it is also our way to see how you respond to us, giving you signals of interest too. Now, if you try and hurry us away, or you're the one trying to get out of the interaction, we start to also pick up that subtle energy of maybe he's not interested. So we do this to show we're interested, but also to test your level and/or willingness to spend some time with us. So the way you can spot this is, a woman's going to introduce a new topic of conversation as things are potentially naturally winding down, or a woman is going to definitely be asking you follow-up questions, even when it is time to leave, or the event is ending, or whatever it might be, the restaurant's closing. And really importantly too, and I talk about this a lot in my free flirting masterclass I have on YouTube, which you can go check out, a woman's body will stay facing you. Her feet will stay facing you rather than starting to angle away from you. When a woman is angling away from you, that's her body trying to say to you, hey, I'm ready to leave. My feet are actually pointing in the direction that I want to go. But when she's interested in you, she will stay facing you because she's interested. She feels that there's trust and safety there. And her body is actually going to be telling you what she's interested in, which is what she is pointing at, which is you. So these are 4 things that women are going to do to try and get your attention. Now, maybe you have missed some of these signs, or these are not the things that you're aware of looking out for, or maybe there's a bit of your deeper intuition where you're going, I knew it. I knew that woman was interested in me, but I just didn't pick up on it last time. And I was having a conversation with a client the other day about one of these signs, and he wanted my feedback. He's like, look, these girls, they came up, next to the bar where I was sitting, and they kind of bumped me while they were, asking what's good to order here. And he's like, what do you think they were after? I was like, I think they were after your attention. Because if a woman was not after your attention, she could have waited, ordered a different time, gone to a different side of the bar. She put herself in your view, even bumped into you to make it more obvious. And so this is a woman's way of saying, hey, like I'm trying to extend this olive branch so that you are invited to talk to me. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to want to talk to all these women that do this to you, but if you're aware of these things, you might recognize that women have been inviting you into conversations more than you have realized. And the truth is that women don't usually walk up and say to men, hey, I am flirting with you. Instead, they're going to give you these subtle, hopefully clear clues, and it really is very much up to you to notice. So if you start spotting these 4 signs, you might have this aha moment that women have been showing interest in you more often than you actually think. And if you want a little more help on now how to, have a more engaging conversation and be a little bit more of a master at flirting, I do have another YouTube video that is like a free masterclass on flirting. There's also a video I put out on 9 subtle signs that she is sexually attracted to you, which talks about some of the things I shared with you today. But those will help you go a little deeper and get a little more knowledge on what I am talking about. Because once you know some of these clues, and you also know how to respond and have conversations with women, dating and talking with women, being out in environments with women, just becomes a heck of a lot more fun because you understand the different ways that women are really inviting you into their world. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I'd love to hear thoughts and comments about whether you've thought that this was a woman showing interest but weren't sure, or if this has in fact actually happened to you, or maybe you met a partner this way. Please drop your thoughts, stories, and views into the comments section because it's fun to read and to share with other people too. And of course, if you are looking for guidance or you're going, I have no idea how to understand if women are interested in me, I'm not even sure what kind of relationship I'm looking for, or I don't really know how to step back into the modern dating world, then I'm more than happy to have a complimentary conversation with you. See if we're a good fit for coaching. You can be like many of my clients that have gone on to have healthy, loving, respectful, intimate, fun, lively relationships with women of all ages. Okay, guys, thanks for this one, and see you guys all next week.